Hello there ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to the pre-season test race here for the IFM PS4 F1 League Season 2. Of course, this isn't actually part of the season, so none of the results tonight count towards the season, but it'll just give us an idea as to how the drivers are feeling, including the rookies, going into Season 2. On your screen now is the champion of Season 1, Vic Mill 1-1. Who won the championship last year with Ferrari, but now the 16-year-old from Poland will be racing for Red Bull, as you see on the screen. As we just saw then, as he was going past, we saw Epic Scorpion there, who was in the wall of champions, and he hadn't even set a lap, so unlucky there for Epic Scorpion. So just bring up some of the information on the screen, just so you can all get an idea of what it is. As you can see there, so we've got the lap data at the top right of the screen, the telemetry at the bottom, so you can see what gears are in, the speed the car's going. In fact, no, we'll put it to full, so you also see how much fuel they've got left as well. Detail, we've got what tyres they've used on their best lap, and the timings will have it as the fastest lap from each driver, not the difference in time between each driver to the leader. Which the first driver now to set a lap time is Sir Langeville in the Renault with a 1 minute 11.8. Good lap that round Canada. I've done similar laps myself into in other leagues. I've done. Canada seems to be a very exciting track, I must say, but he's now dropped to second with the defending champion Vic Mill setting a lap of a 1 minute 11.6. Sir Langeville there, who you just saw earlier, he is of course driving for Renault this year. Finished 6th last year in Season 1, so not too bad. Although he only scored 96 points compared to the champions 352. So he will be looking to improve on that and hopefully win the championship at a second attempt. Runner-up last season was C. Stern. If we can bring him up on screen, I'm afraid we can't because he is in the pits. He's racing for Ferrari this season, the 17-year-old there from Germany. Got currently 7 drivers set a lap so far, and only 2 of them have gone on the medium compound, which is the super soft tyre here at Canada. There we go, setting the fastest lap now. Yep, is Sir Langeville, a 1 minute 11.3. So good lap there from the Renault driver. Can he go better this season? Like I was just saying. Vic Mill now coming round. You have to end this lap and maybe start another. Maybe not start another, but he doesn't improve on that lap. But just only actually 2 hundredths of a second slower. But now Renfaher 001 in the Haas. He's now set the fastest time, a 1 minute 11.3. Also, very good lap there from Renfaher, the 16-year-old from Germany. He finished joint 6th last season with Sir Langeville on 96, so them two in Season 1 equal to each other. Who's going to win the battle between them this year in the midfield? One of the league hosts is Schnitzel there, Wico Mayer we sometimes call him, but I'll always refer to him as Schnitzel. He's in the McLaren, done a lap of a 1 minute 11.4 so far. Schnitzel is a very good driver from what I've seen, and he is a reserve driver for this season, so not full time, but not all 20 drivers in the league could make it tonight, so Schnitzel's just thought he'd come along and drive with everyone, see how he goes against everyone else, maybe practice against the others while he waits for a possible race in reserve. On screen now we've got Zorai 24, the Mercedes AMG Petronas driver. Finished only 19th last season, only 16 points, but he didn't take part in all the races. He's quite an impressive driver, I must say. What can he do in Mercedes in his first full season with the British team? He races with number 97, of course. Good number that. I don't know what it means to him. Number 97, of course, not used in the real world of Formula 1 as yet. As he goes into the pits. Pascal 11 FTP, he is one of the few rookies this season. He is racing alongside the defending and reigning champion at Red Bull, so he's a rookie driver. He's got the best possible teammate in this league for IFM Season 2. Looking forward to seeing what comes from the German there. So a German and a Pole at Red Bull. hoping to bring him some good glory to Central Europe. Of course, the majority of drivers in this league are from Central Europe, although we have got one driver from the USA, which is actually Selangville. He is. But yeah, and also for Scuderia Toro Rosso, Milan Claus is he about? Yes, he is. Let's just bring him up on screen. Here he is in the Toro Rosso. Milan Claus last season finished 10th with 52 points. He's from Algeria. It's good to have drivers in these leagues coming from countries where F1 isn't quite as big as, say, in Central Europe or Great Britain or the Far East. Yep, Milan Claus now to set his first lap of the session in the ultra soft tyre. In fact, I think he may be starting a lap here. No, he's going into the pits, so we'll cut away from him. Quite a lot of drivers are now in the pits, so we're not seeing much action. Although we've got Vettel Fan 05 in the Haas. He's also a rookie for this season, the 15-year-old from Germany. And he is, of course, Renfar's teammate, so what can Vettel Fan do? His car is currently ghosting, so I'm not entirely sure if it's in his control. Probably not. We've got Shaviki here on screen, the Ferrari driver. Shaviki last season finishing 14th with 46 points. His teammate, of course, is Sistan Pro, who's the runner-up from last season, so a good experienced teammate who knows a lot about racing in IFM. Oh, as he just clips the wall there of champions to Shaviki. Hopefully he won't be doing that at any race in the season here in Canada or in other tracks where the walls are close, such as Brazil sometimes and Monaco. But going fastest now is Speedy 2000 in the Sauber with a 1 minute 18.1, and Speedy here is a reserve actually for this season, so probably won't be seeing him in all the races, but when we do, will he put on a good show? Would be interesting to do so. Current Sauber drivers are Dracula Hunter and BL Stricker from France and the Netherlands. Certainly going to be interesting here in this season. I mean, I never really knew about the league in season 1, but season 2 I'm already getting excited for it, knowing how well the drivers performed last season and how good the championship battle was. Don't forget, everyone, all races will be shown on the IFM YouTube channel. They will not be live, but they will be uploaded within a week after the race. And so just make sure you subscribe to the channel, as Speedy there goes into the pits after setting his hot lap. Renfaro, meanwhile, he's probably on a cool down lap there or something. So Langville here, the American in the Renault. Is he going to go any higher than third in qualifying for this race? So we only have 12-minute qualifying sessions here in IFM. Just like most other PS4 leagues that you may see, very rarely do you see any that are 100% full race or full qualifying. I certainly haven't seen any. I believe there is one, but I don't know what it's called, and nor would I say it on here anyway. Oh, track now is Vic Mill, the defending champion in the Red Bull. Vic Mill, as I mentioned earlier, pride of Poland. He hopes to be the Polish #1 in this league for this season. In fact, he can only be the Polish #1 because he's the only Polish driver, silly me. So yep, he's the Robert Kubica then, you could call it, of IFM, but hopefully has better results than Robert Kubica did in real world of F1. Of course, Robert Kubica, some of you may know, has only had one race win in Formula 1 when he was in it, and that was here, right here at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve at Montreal, Canada. Yeah, one of my favourite tracks, this one, and it can rain sometimes here in Canada on race days. You've certainly seen it happen in the real world of F1, especially that amazing race in 2011 where Jenson Button came right from the back. At one point it wasn't during the race. In fact, twice he was last and nearly leapt, but he still won the race, taking victory on the last lap from Sebastian Vettel. If you've not seen that, I suggest you watch the highlight video on Formula One's YouTube channel, because that would certainly be interesting. Meanwhile, Vettel fan, he's put it in the wall of champions, and that is the Haas out of qualifying before even setting a lap time. So, Vettel fan, you're going to have to do better than that, as GT fan, meanwhile, in the Force India, set a fantastic lap of a 1 minute 10.7. So, first driver into the 1 minute 10s here at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. But we'll have to see how well he performs in the race, and he is a rookie driver, GT fan, so he'll of course be hoping to win the IFM World Championship on his debut. Other drivers now retiring, as Shuiki has put it in the wall as well in the Ferrari. So we've got one rookie setting the fastest lap and the other one putting it in the wall. Oh dear, as most drivers now have finished their laps. And actually a late lap there from, no sorry, not a late lap, but Speedy there did improve on his time, up to third place and just shy of second actually from Zarai, who's also in the garage. GT fan now in the Force India just having a little cool down lap. When Ferrer now in the Haas also pits. So that's qualifying over for this test race with GT fan, your number one, on pole position. In second place is Zarai 2-4, third place Speedy, fourth place is Ren. Talangville is fifth, who you can see on the screen there now, and he'll be finishing this lap. Is he going to improve? Well, actually, the check that was already by his name, so I don't know what he was just crossing the line for there. But yet, Talangville is fifth. Defending champion Vic Mill is sixth, who's there on the screen now. Schnitzel is 7th, the reserve driver. Pascal 11 is 8th. FC Bayern fan in the Mercedes is 9th. Of course, you can tell by his name, he's a passionate Bayern Munich FC football fan. Certainly. Swiss Gamer 2000 in Williams is 10th. Spike 99 is 11th. Hardy Edge, the oldest driver in the league at the age of 26 from Germany, who's racing for McLaren Honda, is 12th fastest. He is the slowest of the drivers to have set a time, and actually slowest by well, nearly 3 seconds actually from GT fan, but hopefully he can perform better than that throughout the season and finish on a much better position in the championship, where he was 13th last season. Unlucky for some, unlucky for Hardy Edge. Join us shortly for qualifying. Once again everyone, thank you for joining us again here. You are now watching the actual race here in Canada, here at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. As mentioned in the qualifying footage, nothing from this race counts towards the season. This is just a pre-season test. Of course, it helps me too. I get to learn some of the drivers' names, seeing I get an idea of what they're like as racing drivers. Certainly looking forward to this one. Schnitzel last year, I can tell you ladies and gentlemen, finished 4th in the league with 173 points. So yeah, as I mentioned, certainly a good driver. And when he does drive, he represents the number 42. Don't know what number 42 means to him. Notably, in the reserve drivers, there's a driver called Assassin 1773. He's from Finland, and his number is 13, so he will hope to not be unlucky if he does eventually get a race. I mean, it would be unlucky for him if he doesn't, I'm sure. Even though he's only a reserve, he would certainly like to do a race or two. Not here in testing tonight. Also worth noting, people, that on the 16th of March this year is when the season starts, and we will be at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, USA. And the week after that, for the following 2 rounds after that, we stay here in the Americas. 7 days after Austin, we head to Interlagos, Brazil, which is one of my favourite tracks on the calendar as well. Really enjoy that. It's thrown some historic races over the years as well, especially 2003. Which 2003 wasn't a title decider because it was actually one of the earlier rounds of the season in that, but had a confusing result there. The win was either Fisichella or Raikkonen. For some silly odd reason it was taken off Raikkonen and given to Fisichella because of the time when the red flag came out and the order of drivers were in after big crashes from Mark Webber and Fernando Alonso in that race. Thankfully neither of them were seriously injured and they both returned to racing. Another classic race from Brazil, you could say, with a title decider in 2008 and also 2012. Also 2008 between Hamilton and Massa decided on the final lap, and 2012 decided, well, mainly because of safety car, but Sebastian Vettel making a great comeback from the back in that race. But anyway, Canada here has thrown some classic racing in real life, everyone. As I mentioned, 2007, Hamilton's first win. 2011, the five-hour race, actually, you could say. I mean, they weren't racing for the full 5 hours, but the time between lights out, away they go, and the checkered flag was 5 minutes on... Sorry, not 5 minutes, 5 hours on the clock. But we're about to get racing here now for IFM test race here, Season 2. As we are now, there is no formation... Oh, yes, there is a formation lap, so I'll just take you through the grid as we go. We've got 19 drivers here tonight, which is an excellent turnout. Of course, that's what you want from an online league race. You want to have as many drivers in as possible on the night. You want to have all 20. Tonight we have to settle for 19. So yeah, leading them is GT Fan in the Force India, the rookie driver for this season, hoping to win the IFM League on his debut for Force India. I mean, what a fantastic achievement that would be. And of course, Vic Mill 11 did the same thing last season, but all drivers were rookies then. We maybe seen drivers saying they're getting disqualified on the screen. Let's take a look why. Well, the cars are glitching it. You don't want to just sat there on the grid, but they'll still be able to race. So we take you through the grid then. GT Fan, of course, is first. Zorai second. Speedy third. Renfara fourth. Salangville fifth. Defending champion Vic Mill is 11th. I think someone just went into the wall unless it was lag. Schnicksel, one of the members of the hosting team for IFM, is 7th. Pascal is 8th. Bayern Munich Fan, don't know what his real name is, in Mercedes is 9th. As well, the car's getting quite bunched up there towards the hairpin, as it does actually lag a bit this. We do apologise for that. Swiss Game is 10th. Spike 99X is 11th. I don't know if he was a fan of the Spike Formula 1 team or likes Spike as a car manufacturer. Certainly see Spike not being a very successful team in Formula 1. Well, notably, they had a one-off replacement for Sach Christian Albers, which is Marcus Winkelhock at the European Grand Prix at the Nürburgring. And he's got a funny record of leading every race he took part in, although that was the only race he ever did. But it was quite a funny race to watch that. If you've not seen it, I suggest you watch it online. It is on Daily Motion if you want to see that. Rather entertaining, and that does have an English commentary. But anyway, now as the drivers have lined up on the grid, we're about to get going here at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve in Canada. As we've got the lights, we've got 2, we've got 3, we've got 4, we've got 5, and we wait now as we go here at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. It's a good start and a bit of wheel spin there from GT Fan, but he gets away well as the screen just lag a little bit, so I can't tell where everything is. And Zarai tucks just behind. Speedy in the Sauber remains in 3rd place. Ranfara is 4th, although he will be battling Speedy going up towards the latter part of the middle sector. If we could just get up now the gaps and the details on the screen, so we get position change on the screen, see who's had the best start. But best start, okay, we'd say C. Stern, who didn't even take the formation lap. He is up to 10th place after starting 13th on the grid. Notably though, the top 8 all remain in position from where they started. Although because it is lagging, I can't tell where everything's going, and it is a bit slower than what I would like, but I'll talk you through as much information as we can. Oh, for God's sake. Why is it that we've got fucking supposed to be a brilliant broadband, it's just absolutely crap. Sort of thing you find at a fucking library or job centre. Sorry everyone, I went there due to technical issues, but I'm back with you now. Hopefully I can stay this time. Anyway, Seaston, he was making a move actually on someone up to 9th place, but he's now up to 7th actually, is the Ferrari driver. It's a good driving there from Seaston, though he has just got a penalty, and he has hit the wall of champions, and he's lost part of his front wing. So not entirely great is that. GT Fan still leads though in the Force India. Time, fastest lap is a 1 minute 13.8. As now the DRS is enabled, we are now on lap 3, and it's going to get interesting because Sarai is right behind the Force India. In fact, it is Silvera's Mercedes. So, are we actually going to have a wheel-to-wheel battle on our hands here as Pascal and Schnitzel are battling over 8th place, with Spike in the other Force India right behind the McLaren as he makes a move there, going into the first chicane. Well, it's sort of chicane, but anyway, no he doesn't, although Schnitzel does cut a bit of the curb there going along. Meanwhile, Vettel found that it has takes them both to steal 9th place from the two drivers. Seaston, of course, has gained 6th place on this, and he's pulled out a little bit of a gap now to Pascal behind him. He's got 3 seconds to Langeville in front in the Renault. Vic Mill, the defending champion, is 5th in the Red Bull. He has actually swapped positions with Langeville in, you know, up to 5th place since where they started. And fighting now at the front. Yep, so right, he's right on the back of the Force India, and he's did he touch him slightly there going to the chicane? But no, he skims the wall of champions slightly, but his car doesn't appear to be very badly damaged, although however he is now out of DRS range from the Force India in front. Speedy meanwhile in the Sauber has caught up to him, and well, we've got Langeville there in the pits and the Renault. Hardy Edge, what's happened to him? Oh, he's actually binned it on the run down the back straight, as you can see there, the long river there, which was used for the rowing in the Summer Olympics when it was here in Montreal. Can't remember the year, but that's where it is. That's what you can see in the background. But Hardy Edge is now out of the race. Not a good start then for Hardy Edge to his career in season 2. I mean, yes, none of it counts as season, as I've already said several times, but it is still worth watching, and we're studying how the drivers are going here in this race. Meanwhile, Spike is also in the wall. Just work out where that is. It appears to be after the chicane at the end of the first sector, which is where Sebastian Vettel, of course, famously spun it. Yes, it is from there, where Sebastian Vettel famously spun it and lost the lead to Jenson Button in the last lap here in 2011. Meanwhile, at the front, GT Fan now 1.7 seconds clear of Sarai, since Sarai made a mistake at the end of the last lap, although right behind Sarai is Speedy 2000 in the Sauber. Sarai managing to keep it out of the wall this time, the wall of champions. Yes, he wants to be a champion for a result, but not before the walls here in Canada. Certainly won't be wanting to do that in Monaco either later this year. Renfara is currently 4th, Vic Mill 5th. Season Pryor is actually, well, got a train, a couple of cars behind him. He's got Pascal 11 behind him, and Vettel Fan as well. Swiss game a further 4 seconds behind in the Williams. A bit lonely he is out on track. Still, that's going well so far as Pascal picks up a penalty. We have got it on strict corner cutting rules here on IFM. We want it to be as realistic as possible, as Season Pryor locks up there in front of the Red Bull driver, but manages to keep it on track and hit the apex as a Ferrari, hoping to pull away there from the Red Bull. At the front, GT Fan extending his lead just slightly, but not so much, but just slightly. Now 1 minute, sorry, not 1 minute, 1.8 seconds, 1.9 seconds now actually ahead of Mercedes, who's really now got the Sauber on his back and going into the DRS zone. He's right on board with him now. He's got the DRS open to Speedy, but is he actually going to make a move? It appears not. He is too far back, despite Sarai not having it, but straight line speed in that Mercedes is absolutely phenomenal. Of course, yes, it is equal performance here, but you know the Mercedes tends to win a lot, doesn't it? And of course it is down to the drivers' setups here as well. Drivers are free to use their own setups. They're allowed to customise it. They can use a template one from the F1 game if they wanted to, but I'm sure most of them would not. Vettel Fan are now up to 7th place after starting a lowly 16th on the grid now in the Haas, and he's right behind Seaston Pryor. And it's of course Haas, a customer Ferrari, behind Ferrari, the manufacturers. That'll be interesting there to see how they go. Meanwhile, GT Fan up in front now, the rookie driver, 2.6 seconds in front of Sarai now, who's actually destroying his own race to keep Speedy right behind him. But now as we head to the hairpin here on lap 6, what's Speedy going to do? Round in the hairpin now. And he's got a good exit. No, slightly not. Back end switching out a little bit. I don't know if he's running traction control or not. That's not something we can check here. But it's alright. Got a little bit of an advantage there pulling away. He had a better exit from the hairpin. And therefore can go a further lap, keeping Speedy behind him unless he makes a mistake here at the chicane. He does not clip the wall of champions. He keeps well away from it this time. Got 2 wheels on the grass slightly, but never mind. As he halves his power briefly there, going down the main straight, and as does the Sauber, who's right behind him. And he's gained a couple of tenths so far on GT Fan in front. Meanwhile, Vettel Fan is, he's up to 6th after Seaston Pryor is in the pits. I'll just call him Seaston now because I don't know if I'm getting the second part right. But what can Vettel Fan do now? He's currently 5.3 seconds behind Vic Mill in the Red Bull up ahead. And Vic Mill wanting to catch up and overtake Renfarer in the other Haas for 4th place. So Haas currently running both cars 4th and 6th, which is very good here on the western front. Canada, not quite America, but borders America. It's Canada. He's doing their geography. Seastern has now exited the pits in his Ferrari, and he's down in 9th place right now. Is the Ferrari. FC Bayern Fan 301 in the Mercedes is up ahead, and he will be he's on the back of Langville in the Renault versus Mercedes. We don't often see that. Ferrari, you can just see them further down this short straight here. Has now gone into the bridge. Bridge is of course your braking point, so when the sun's shining, well, you know your braking point, because I guess if it's raining you sometimes won't know where the bridge is unless you feel a sudden slide. Meanwhile, Speedy, yeah, he's in the lead, sorry. It wasn't an overtake, but GT Fan and Renfarer are in the pits, calls Renfarer yet to stop, make his stop. There he goes. As who's on screen now, Sarai is up to 3rd place. GT Fan has exited the pits now in 2nd. So what can Speedy Fan do here? Excuse me. So not Speedy Fan, Speedy. Speedy going to pull out a good gap here to GT Fan and Zarai. Probably won't actually, but we'll see. He's only 13.3 seconds ahead, and that is not enough. So yeah, GT Fan is still the net leader in the Force India, hoping to hold on to his lead. It would be very impressive in some story if he could be the fastest man and a winner in the pre-season test race here in Canada on his racing debut here in IFM. So now we take a look at the drivers who have stopped. Actually, all drivers have stopped now, apart from Bayern Fan in 8th and Speedy, who's leading the race. As now Pascal has retired from the race. What's he done? Pascal, he's just pulling over. He's pulling over. Can't see any notable damage on his car at all, so we see there what's going on. So you just heard her laughing there, sounded like some ghost, but it was actually someone on the screen, whoever that was. Someone in the game, I should say, by the way. So GT Fan leading the race. Speedy has now pitted. Oh, he's quite close actually to Zarai here. It's going to close battle, but Zarai just stays in front of the Sauber. Well, Speedy's going right for the move here. No, he holds back. He don't want to damage the front wing straight after coming out of the pits, does he? I mean, that would be a silly thing to do, and a very clumsy mistake, wouldn't it, from any driver? Meanwhile, Bayern Fan is in the pits now as well. Down in 12th place he is. So the battle for 2nd is still on here as well. Did they clip the wall? Was it just lag? I think it was a bit of both actually, because they did seem to lag away from the wall after the contact was initially made. Of course, DRS, is still available, and it doesn't look like there will be any rain in this race. We are halfway through the race now. It's 18 laps here around Canada. Only 25% race this, not the 50% that you'll be seeing in the races. But here we go now. Oh, it's a good cutback here for Speedy as we run on board with the Sauber now. He's got a good range here. Slipstream engaged, DRS switched on. Is he going to make the move here on the Mercedes-AMG Patronus down the back straight? He's going to have to go to the inside chicane, which is never ideal. And no, he doesn't get it. Zarai in the Mercedes stays in front, although he has hit the wall of champions. And now it's going to exit out of the chicane for Speedy in the Sauber. Is he going to be able to get past him? Yes, he's alongside him now, going down the main straight, heading to the kink there, the right-hander, but into the braking zone at turn 1. He's on the inside, but he doesn't make the move as the brakes go glowing and flaming from the Mercedes AUC. And Zarai just holds on to 2nd place and thinks, yep, I'm going to be runner-up here to GT Fan. Get out my mirrors. And Renfarer now has been watching this from behind. Zarai now has just picked up another penalty, but Renfarer in the Haas is up to 4th place. Of course, in this race, And what's he going to do now? Is he going to try and take a podium position? Is he going to get past Speedy and then quickly show him how it's done on Zerai? We'll have to see what it is. And now, if we look at the detail, what tyres are all on? Most of them now on the Super Soft, but that's not evidently, well, it's not always relevant now, especially straight after the stops, as this is meant to be just a one-stopping race, as it's 25%. But now, here we go, as we look, going on to the back straight once again. It goes from Zerai, actually from Redfire. He has actually passed Speedy at the hairpin there. I was too busy trying to change the camera, but yet, Redfire did pass Speedy there. And Speedy should take, hopefully, a lesson from that if he gets a chance to attack Zerai again. We're going down from the straight now, as, well, none of the three drivers appear to hit the wall of champions, and that's Renfara and Speedy there, both with DRS behind the Mercedes AMG Petronas. I'm struggling to carry on reading the timings there on the left of my screen because I've still got notifications from PSN appearing. Silly me, hopefully I can be able to turn those off when the season comes. Yes, in fact, I'll leave that chat at some point, what the messages are coming from. But anyway, the battle for second place is certainly one to watch here in Canada, as the three drivers involved in it, Zerai, Renfara and Speedy, they're all within your picture there on the screen. And wow, it's certainly going to be interesting to see how they all get on in the season. Meanwhile, Vettel fan is up to 6th, from 16th on the grid in the other Haas, so Haas currently running 3rd and 6th at starting 4th and 16th, so be a good result here for Haas, even though it counts to nothing here in the test race. It will just go to show how good the drivers are, especially Vettel fan, who's had to work very hard for this. And now, here we go then, down the back straight. We've got Renfara right behind Zerai. Is he going to do what Speedy couldn't do? He's pulling to the outside, but is he going to be able to get alongside him? Maybe not. No, he does not, as he taps him there slightly, going to the braking zone towards the chicane. And both of them avoiding Wall of Champions, well as Speedy, who's quite far back now here. It's not been able to keep up. Look, appears that Renfara is just pushing Zerai along. Is he going to go for the move into turn 1? Not quite, and now turn 2. Is he going to go around the outside? He doesn't, but the cutback is on board. He gets the back end swinging out there, managed to keep it out the wall, and that is great driving there from Ren. And he just has to wait now for yet another lap possibly to get into second place. And if he does, will he be able to hunt down GT Fan and the Force India in front? Will he have enough time to do that? I'm not sure. It all depends on the pace of GT Fan up front. As Zerai there gets a good exit there out to the first sector of this track, and he may be able to hold on to second place still at the end of this lap, as we are now on lap 12 here at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. Vettel fan 2 seconds behind Vic Mill. It'll be an interesting battle between them two this season if Vettel fan can have better qualifying performances and stay in front. Meanwhile, Renfara and Speedy are a little bit closer now than last time. Speedy was out of DRS on the last lap, but here on this lap he's not. He has got it and it is open, but he's, well, nowhere near close enough to make the DRS take effect. As up front, what's the exit hit is going to be like for the chicane, as Renfara does tap the wall slightly coming out the chicane. He has got DRS, yeah, it is open, and he's just chasing the Mercedes in front. However, he's not getting the overtake. Zerai's defending absolutely brilliantly here at Montreal, and if he can keep on defending like that, should he need to throughout the season, then he will be one great driver to hold on to his points and do his team proud. We haven't seen much of his attacking yet because he hasn't gained any places during this race. He started second, he is second, and he's only, well, having to watch his mirrors. He's got nothing to focus on in front, as GT Fan in the Force India, who we look at on screen now, is 6.9 seconds down the road. So the pace from that Force India is absolutely phenomenal, and he's actually coming to back markers. He's coming up to FC Bayern Fan in the Mercedes. Well, FC Bayern Fan has had to stop twice in this race. I don't know why, we didn't quite see. But anyway, the battle for second place now as we head down the hairpin. Zerai is still in front of Renfara, and Renfara now, what's he going to do? He's got the DRS, but nowhere near close enough for it to take effect. Speedy, 1.8 seconds back from Renfara, has no DRS at all. Meanwhile, FC Bayern fans actually set the fast lap in this race to 1 minute 12.4, despite being almost a lap down from GT Fan. As up front now, not up front, towards the front, Renfara now still right on about within touching distance of Zerai. Gets a good exit out of turn 1, but he had to, well, miss slightly there coming out of turn 2, because Zerai's exit wasn't entirely great. And I go through here, the narrow part of sector 1, very close towards there. Lots of shadows coming from the trees when the sun is shining here, but the sun is shining right now on GT Fan. Some story if he can win a championship on his debut, let alone let alone win the first test race, his first race in IFM. Now, Sarai, it seems to be the middle sector for Sarai, where he gains the most time on Renfara. Maybe it's just the way the setup's made, I don't know. And that braking zone under the bridge, you get a really fast exit out of there. Once you hit the apex, you have to get your foot on the gas pedal as soon as possible. And also out of that hairpin, which what both drivers have done. And now Renfara again, for the 1000th time, possibly now it must feel to him, has the DRS on Sarai. He's getting closer, but he just can't make the move. I mean, he wasn't as close this time as he has been on other occasions, and he did well there to not take too much of the sleeping policeman curves there at the chicane. And towards the end of the lap, Vic Mill doing a fine job so far in 5th place. He's actually catching Speedy. He's catching him. Speedy begins to fall back from Renfara and Sarai in front of him, sorry, not front, in front. And of course, Speedy did start 3rd and looks to be having a hot battle with Sarai all race, but he's just losing it now. He's 2.5 seconds behind that pair as they battle on for 6th, so not for 6th place, 2nd place. Currently in 5th place, yeah, is Vic Mill, defending champion in the Red Bull. What's he going to do? Is he going to be able to catch and beat Speedy and give him an even bigger, more painful headache here in Canada? Renfara now in the Haas. What can he do? He's got a lot of American fans over here to support the Haas team. As a Vettel fan in 10th place. They're both taking quite a wide entry and exit there out of the hairpin. Of course, Sarai was leading one of those. Maybe Renfara just mistakenly followed the rhythm of the Mercedes in front, and that has not made it easier to keep up with him. He's got the DRS, but it's just not taking effect. And when I look now, well, they're both running the same engine modes. They're both fuel flow, both in standard mix at the moment. Although Ren has a lighter car and he's going to have to start saving a little bit of fuel now. And therefore that, of course Sarai won't be a no, but therefore it will mean a bit easier for Sarai, as he was a bit wide there in turn 2. The tyres must be shaking off already here in Montreal, as it is quite a hot day here. And yeah, I've been for a walk along the rivers there by this track, and it is a certainly beautiful day to go for a walk here. And I think I'll certainly be doing it after this race as well. But meanwhile, Vic Mill has actually lost a bit of time to Speedy up in front, and there isn't really any big gaps, sorry, not big gaps, big battles on the track now, other than this one here you see for 2nd place. And if you guys are wondering why I'm just using the onboard cameras for most of this, it's because it doesn't show as much of the lag. Yes, you just saw it there, but the lag doesn't show as much on these cameras, unless you get to see how close they really are, and it stays on one camera. And not a bad camera at all. So DRS open now for Renfara going down the back straight. He really doesn't want to be stuck behind this Mercedes for too long. He's going to want to get past, because a good overtake here will give him a bit of confidence going into the season here. And that is what he needs. You need confidence in yourself to be a good racing driver, as we've seen in the real world of F1 and other PS4 leagues or Xbox leagues, whatever that you viewers may have watched. As Renfara has spun it, coming out of turn 2, and that's the end now. And Speedy takes back 3rd place, having to go through, and Vic Mill is behind them. Meanwhile, FC Bayern fan is in the way, and Farah now has actually he's now lost 5th to his teammate, unless he was just letting him through there, Vettel fan. So what would have been a fantastic result for Renfara there, a podium in the pre-season test, has not gone his way. And the Haas team there, as you can see, Gunter Steiner banging his fist on the pit wall there, as he is a bit disappointed there, as we saw. Oh, Speedy, actually, yeah, it was Speedy that goes in cast screen. I assumed it was FC Bayern, but it wasn't. It was Speedy, and he's done the same thing. So he saw it happen in front, but didn't mean to copy it. So, but it doesn't mean that Vettel fan or Renfara are going to get a podium. Who is going to get a podium is Vic Mill, the defending champion. Who would have thought that after qualifying 6th place? But yes, we all know how good he is. If you saw any of season 1, or if you've listened to my pre-season information video on the IFM YouTube channel. But still, IFM's champion Vic Mill is up into 3rd place, as on the last lap now, lap 18 out of 18, is GT Fan in the Force India. And it appears he's going to win this race. He's got no back markers further up the road in front of him, so he can just go calm and smoothly, even though he's just put in, well, a personal best in the 1st sector. Which is absolutely phenomenal driving from the rookie driver. GT Fan, if I could just give you some information on that, I'm sure you would appreciate it. So GT Fan as you see, racing for Force India. He's currently 18 years of age from Germany, and yeah, he's in his rookie season racing number 51. So there is no previous stats in IFM to say about GT Fan. But GT Fan now on the back straight, coming up to the line. Most of the field are now all spread out, although we have got a battle for 9th place between Schnitzel and Epic Scorpion, which we'll just cut to in a short moment. But GT Fan now crossing the line to win the first pre-season test race here in IFM League. Well done, you are the winner. And coming home in 2nd place now is Zerai in the Mercedes AMG Petronas. Good result for him, actually 14 seconds behind the Force India, so just shows how dominant GT Fan was in that race. And Vic there is 3rd in the race. But there we go. Now if we cut to battle, actually Schnitzel has passed Epic Scorpion. He may have just done it at the hairpin there. I'm sorry that we didn't catch that, but yeah, Schnitzel, it appears he has passed him at the hairpin, because the move was just complete just before we cut to it. But anyway, now round in the final bends, Schnitzel will be becoming a 9th, Epic Scorpion 10th, unless there's penalties that will take effect. Yes, it does. Actually, Epic Scorpion's up to 8th because Selangville had a shed load of penalties on his car as he just takes out one of the Hasses there on the cool-down lap. What silly driving. But anyway, that's your first pre-season test race, folks. I hope you've enjoyed it just as much as I have, and just as much as GT Fan did in front. He's your winner. We'll just get the result on screens now. As you see the drivers there on the podium, GT Fan looking absolutely thrilled with his performance here at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, and the team down there in the pit lane applauding him. Clap your hands for your rookie driver. Well done. He is certainly a title contender for this season, even though nothing from this race counts in terms of points. With Zerai there in 2nd and Vic Mel in 3rd. Who's going to keep up the momentum going into the season? Season 2 of IFM does promise to be a very exciting one. I think we may have another pre-season test after this one, but there's your top 13 on screen now. Well, you can see the notable top 10. So there was quite a lot of penalties in that, but GT Fan there did very well to not have any at all, and that's why the gap says it's 14 seconds up front, but where it was actually only 7 seconds. And Vic Mill, of course, also not getting any penalties. Thanks for watching. Well, I hope you enjoyed it.